So anyway, I did after about a good month and a half. We had a really regular relationship for a month and a half with lots of just dating and spending time watching movies, doing regular things, right? Working, you know, he always made sure that he wined and dined me because I think he knew that that was one of the things that I really enjoy. So, here we are. We're going to any restaurant I want to go to. I'm eating everything that I want, drinking all the things that I want. And, it was great. So he kept saying, I want to marry you. I want to marry you. Now, mind you, this is about 2.5 months in. This 2.5 months. This was November is when we got engaged. And I met him in August. Just a little backstory on when I met him. When I met him, he was getting out of a relationship, and he was just explaining to me. He said, hey, me and my ex-wife, we're no longer together. I'm getting all of her belongings out of here, putting them in storage. I'm having a hard time with her coming to get her stuff. And this is very important for the upcoming stories because I'm going to skip through December, January, February, March, and April. A lot of chaos was going on here and there, but this is very important to what I'm about to say next. So I'm like, okay. And I found that odd. I mean, when I tell you all this woman's stuff was in there, all of her things, it was her clothing were still in the closet. Her makeup and her just everyday body care and all of that stuff. Perfumes. I mean, she didn't have a lot of perfumes and stuff like that. But nonetheless, all of the plates, all of the crock pots and, things to cook with, all that stuff is in their place. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, what type of woman would leave all of her stuff? Like, this either had to be really bad, where she said, forget all that shit, or he's lying about something, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever, there was nobody knocking at the door looking for anything. He was getting paperwork for the divorce. He was just like, I just want to get this woman out of my life. He was taking her stuff and putting it in the storage across the street. And so I'm like, okay, so he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get all her stuff. And I said, well, if she's not coming to get it, I said, why don't you, have the court see if you could just throw it out instead of paying for storage? Because all I'm looking at is that money is coming out of our household, right? So I'm like, why don't you just do that? But he was just so adamant about not doing that. He wanted to do things the right way and make sure that the court said it was okay when he finally did discard her things and everything. And I guess to a point I did respect his way of going about it. And I didn't really question it too much. I thought it was weird. He told me what he said about it, and there was nothing more that I could say, right? So I'm like, okay. So he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get her things out of the house. And at the time, I wanted it out the house because it was blocking. Like, I don't like clutter in my house. So I was just kind of like, okay, we can go ahead and take it to the storage and and all of that. Well, anyway, let's fast forward to April. We're now in April of 2025. And we are sitting, at the time, I'm working at a salon. I'm working 3 days a week, but I'm working very long hours. So I was still getting my hours in, but only in 3 days. So I'm working a lot during the weekend. I'm extremely tired on the weekend. My checks are okay. I mean, if you a hairstylist, you can make some money. Like, I'm used to making money. And so this is not that type of money, but it's something, right? It's things that I can get stuff done. I can get my flights out. The kids, get my kids their flights out. My flights out to Chicago when I need to go out there and see them and do my clients and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So he would always ask me how much I made. Like, I want to know what your check is. Now, mind you, he told me that he wanted to take care of the bills, and he told me that he wanted my money that I made just to make sure that I look good, make sure that I'm taken care of, make sure that I have my, if I do fillers, which sometimes I do fillers, if I do my fillers, or if I get my lashes done or my nails done, or if I want to go buy some clothes, that money was just for me to do that while he took care of the bills, because he made more money than me. I'm not gonna say like significantly, but he made more money than me for sure. So I'm like, okay, cool. But now he's starting, when he sees that I'm like doing a lot, right? Now he's like, well, how much are you making? Like, where's your check? So he starts to suggest to me that we combine our money, which generally that would sound good if you're in a healthy relationship. I think that all households run a household the way that they want to, combining the money together and then dispersing it accordingly, especially when we're talking about long-term things like a wedding, like a house, and all of those, taking care of, making sure the kids are taken care of. We have 4 children that are going to be going to college, so making sure that, that we have appropriate funds, it's not a bad idea. But it was something about the way that he was going about it, where he was just like, I will take care of everything. Like, basically, he wanted me to give him the check and then he'd take care of everything, which made absolutely no sense, because I had more time in the day, right? I had more time during my week because he works morning and night. So I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. I said, because I said, you're not trying to take care of me. I said, if you want to take care of me, you would just do that with your money. I said, but you're not trying to take care of me. What you're trying to do is control the finances, and that's what you're trying to do. And so he kept trying to talk around it. This is what God said. God wants us to operate like this. The man is supposed to take care of the woman. He's doing all of this manipulation, trying to talk around it. But at the same time, I'm still calling it out for what it is, right? You're trying to control the finances. Taking care of me is one thing. Controlling the finances is a total separate entity, right? And that's the entity that you're trying to go in, and I'm not fucking stupid, so stop fucking playing with me, right? So he's like, he keeps going on and on and on about it. And then I guess he realizes, like, I'm not really gonna fall for that. So after a little while, a few weeks goes by, he decides, hey, I am working a lot. He surrenders, right? A little bit. He says, I am working a lot. I want you to take care of everything in the house. I really don't want you working while you're doing that. I want you to focus on your clients. Because I was always complaining, right? When you work at a salon, you're making an hourly wage, and you're pretty much relying on your tips. And I'm used to making money. And so I was just like, I need to get my clientele back, this, that, and the other. So he was like, I want you to focus on that, and I will just bring the money home, and this is what we're going to do. And I was like, okay, that sounds better, right? That sounds like a better plan than what the fuck you was talking about before. Sound like you think I'm a goofy, right? So I'm like, okay, we'll do it that way. So we go through passwords. We're going through like all of the stuff that I need for his, for the accounts, to make sure that I can take care of everything and have it all accessible. And I think what he was trying to do was stall, because it took so long for me to get those things. And then one minute I'm missing stuff. He's still paying on stuff without letting me know. And so it just really kind of became a mess and a little frustrating. And I was just like, you know what? You can take care of everything. And I'm just like, not going to deal with this shit, right? So that wasn't good enough for him, right? He's like, I need you to be on deck and know what's going on and yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, okay, but we got to do it in the right way. So finally we get everything on track where I have everything that I need. And now we're out eating at Joey's Uptown. And he asked about how much I made. And I think at that check was a pretty hefty check, because I don't remember why. I really don't remember why. I think it's because of the rodeo. The rodeo in Houston is a huge thing, and I made a lot of money, and he did not like that at all.